Mhm. Okay. Brother Art, you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here, John.
My volume low. Nothing in this world you should fear otherwise. For everything in this world. I'm sorry. Goodness gracious. Never fear. Sorry about that. All right, it's 8:08 now. Greetings, brothers and sisters. Today is March 5th, 2024. It's 8:08 p.m. This is the Dr. Julius Nyeri, CVPM, Division 421, Atlanta Constitution Study Review. We'll be looking at a few sections of the UNIA Constitution, preamble, and hopefully we can get through Article 3 of the Constitution. Before we start, we want to go through our, let's see. Yeah, we just want to go through our rituals to open up our meeting. So I'll handle this as our acting chaplain. From Greenland's icy mountains, from India's coral strand, where Africa's sunny fountains roll down their golden sand. From many ancient rivers, from many palmy plains, they called us to deliver the land from error's chain. Uh, shall we, whose souls are lighted with wisdom from on high, shall we to men be knighted, the lamp of life deny? Salvation, O salvation, the joyful sound proclaim, till earth's remotest nation has learned Messiah's name. Waft, waft, ye winds, his story, and you, ye waters, roll, till like a sea of glory, uh, it spreads from pole to o'er our ransomed nation, the land for sinners slain, Redeemer, King, Creator, and bliss returns to reign. Lady President, I'm making you co-host. If anybody else comes in, you can let them in while I'm reading or whatever I'm doing.
Okay, listen.
Thank you. Um, got the order. Give me a second. Greenland's icy mountain, then a prayer. Okay. Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the oh my gosh, I don't know the Lord's Prayer. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. And shine on, O eternal. Shine on, O eternal light. Shine on, eternal light, to greet our souls this day, dispel the gloominess of night, and drive our doubts away. Our longing eye prepare, when war and strife shall cease, to view the morn soon to appear, the new era of peace. Thy glorious church, O God, no kingdom can remove, made without hands, this blessed abode, the harbinger of love. Of all the gifts that flow from thy great throne above, we ask thee on our hearts bestow the gift of perfect love. My soul the light receives and dares the truth to prove, not in blind ignorance believers, but knows that God is love. Come love and give new birth to man's destructive mind, spread where confusion reigns on earth, goodwill to all mankind. Shine on, eternal light, thy penetrating ray shall turn the hour of darkness night into eternal day. Amen. Okay, with that, we will get into our lessons for today. The wrong button. Briefly before we let me do our pledge and then I'll do a brief roll call. If you would please put your black fists in the air and say along with me. I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection,
defense, and security
of the
of the red,
black,
black, and green.
I
I
dedicate
dedicate
my
my
life
life to the redemption
of Mother
of
Africa
Mother Africa
and the
and the
liberation
liberation of her scattered black children.
I accept
I accept for myself, my descendants,
the
the
teachings
teachings of universal African nationalism.
and I
And I promise that our children will be instilled
with the
with the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people,
in
in
order
order that the cause of our struggle will neither falter nor fail until all black people are free and united through one God, one aim,
one
and one destiny.
Race first.
Race first.
So everyone should have gotten a copy of the outline for tonight. Some very important questions that we will get answered from the Constitution. Starting with the preamble, what is the UNIA according to the preamble? And all of these questions are according to the preamble. What is the desire of the founders of the UNIA-ACL? What do members of the UNIA-ACL pledge? What do members of the UNIA-ACL believe? What is the motto of the UNIA-ACL? What happens if, it should be if, the strong oppress the weak? And what does love, faith, and charity towards all create? So we should be familiar with these questions or mute your lines. We should be familiar with these questions, and answering these questions will help us when you look at it in retrospect, it'll help us to memorize the preamble. Article 1 of the Constitution, some of the things that are answered. When was the original Constitution put into effect? So knowing the history of the UNIA, history of the Constitution. When was the Constitution last amended? That's also very important. What is the jurisdiction of the UNIA-ACL? That's one of the first things that the Constitution discusses. Within its jurisdiction, what are the powers of the UNIA-ACL? Within its jurisdiction, what are the rights? What rights are reserved by the UNIA-ACL? And what is the cause to revoke a charter and reestablish jurisdiction over a division or subordinate organization? Okay, that's answering one of y'all questions. Article 1, also charters and divisions. What is the necessary number of citizens to issue a charter? We should understand that. That's in the Constitution. But as organizers, as leaders, we should be helping to grow divisions and establish divisions. And at the very least, we should know what's the minimum number of people required to establish a division. And some of these questions, I think this one didn't make it. This question did not make it to see, strike through. That didn't make it after the division has operated successfully for a period. Who approves that division or charter is also listed in the Constitution, and I'm not going to ask this question either. This one didn't make it. Greetings, Sister Basima.
Can
Also,
you hear me?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. Race first. Give thanks.
Race first. We'll try to get to the laws of the Constitution, discuss some the structure of the laws. Article 2 of the Constitution talks about laws. It states who or what the UNIA may enact laws for. What are the laws of the UNIA, or where are the laws of the UNIA comprised? So if we want to know, if we're looking for laws, where should we look? And which laws of the UNIA are comprised in the Constitution, which laws are comprised in the bylaws, which laws are comprised in the general laws. When shall the Constitution be amended? How often the Constitution should be amended? What is the symbol of the UNIA-ACL? When was the table of contents added to the Constitution is also it's not critical, but it's a fun fact, I would say. How often is the Constitution review completed? So how often do we review the Constitution? I thought I said this already. I said amended. When shall the Constitution be amended? Where are resolutions sent? So it's getting time. We're getting close to High Executive Council. We should know, according to the Constitution, where to send our resolutions. Who is required to appoint and upgrade the Constitution Committee as needed? So when we as a government need a Constitution Committee, who are the individuals that we look to make sure that is established and taken care of? What body has the authority to enact bylaws and general laws? So that's Article 2. And again, we're going to read this and then come back to the questions and see if we remember what the answers are. And with that, we'll go straight to the Constitution from here. Are there any questions or comments or concerns before we go to the Constitution? Okay. So we'll try to wrap this up. We should be able to read, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So this is a draft copy for those online and everything. This is not the final copy of the Constitution. There's a copy that I shared as well that's an older version of the Constitution. Obviously, we don't share our most recent approved version of the Constitution, but for educational purposes, we do in Atlanta discuss the draft copy of the Constitution and use that as an example and a standard. So everything that we're discussing today is based on the draft copy of the Constitution. I have to put that disclaimer out there. But this is the Constitution of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, founder. So preamble. Students of course of African philosophy should also know the importance of the preamble. Mr. Garvey says that we are to use the preamble to defend the organization. Ross Marvin teaches us that we should actually have this committed to memory. So preamble is very, very extremely important for us as Garveyites and leaders. Preamble of the Constitution states, zoom in. The Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League is a social, friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, institutional, constructive, and expansive society, and is founded by persons desiring to the utmost to work for the general uplift of the Negro peoples of the world. And the members pledge themselves to do all in their power to conserve the rights of their noble race and to respect the rights of all mankind, believing always in the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God. The motto of the organization is one God, one aim, one destiny. Therefore, let justice be done to all mankind, realizing that if the strong oppresses the weak, confusion and discontent will ever mark the path of man, but with love, faith, and charity towards all, the reign of peace and plenty will be heralded into the world, and the generations of men shall be called blessed. So that is our world famous preamble to our Constitution, never changed, never edited, always has been, always will be our preamble. Constitution and Book of Laws made for the government of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League in effect July 1918, amended August 1920, August 1921, August 1922, August 1938, March 2005, and March 2021. What I will be reading is the latest, the recent proposal for amendments that we had several years ago. So it's somewhat of the latest version of the Constitution. Constitution, Article 1, Jurisdiction. This body shall be known as the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. Its jurisdiction shall include all communities where people of African descent are to be found. In it alone are vested the powers powers to establish subordinate divisions and other organizations whose objects shall be equal and be identical with those herein set forth. And its mandates shall be obeyed at all times and under all circumstances. The Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League reserves the right to fix, regulate, and determine all matters of a general or international nature as affects the objects of the organization and the membership at large. Rights to reorganize rebellious branch of division. Section 2, the right is reserved to revoke charters and to reestablish jurisdiction over any division or subordinate organization whose affairs are conducted contrary to the welfare of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League as required by the Constitution and general laws. Objects and aims. I'll read the most recent. As of 2005, the objects of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League shall be to establish a universal confraternity among the race, to promote the spirit of pride and love, to reclaim the fallen, to administer to and assist the needy, to assist in the development of independent African nations and communities, to establish agencies in the principal countries and cities of the world for the representation and protection of all Africans, irrespective of nationality, to promote a conscientious spiritual worship among all Africans in the diaspora, to establish universities, colleges, academies, and schools for the racial education and culture of the people, to conduct a worldwide commercial and industrial intercourse for the good of the people, to work for better conditions in all African communities. So I don't want to brush over that part. Very important, very fundamental, very foundational. Actually, for me, I've stressed in my learning, I've stressed the objects and aims more than the preamble. I know the objects and aims better than I know the preamble. Not to say that one is better than the other, but I personally believe that both of those sections of the Constitution are fundamental, foundational, and if we don't know anything else about the UNIA, we should know those two sections. Phone is ringing. That's another phone. Get that. Some reason, I don't know. That's kind of scary. So yeah, very important objects and aims. 7 necessary number for charter. A charter may be issued for 7 or more citizens of any community whose intelligence is such as to bring them within respectful recognition. Oh no, I'm sorry. I should have read the most recent. A charter may be issued to 7 or more citizens of any community whose intelligence and industry are recognized and accepted within that community. So We should know that number, 7, necessary number for charter. Chapters has been amended and eradicated in 2005. Not going to go over anything that has been amended and eradicated. Not in detail. We'll just discuss that amongst your local leadership, the history of chapters. Divisions. All additional divisions created in the same city shall be called divisions. The charters granted to such divisions shall be called divisional charters. During this period, divisions that operate successfully at the divisional level shall be approved by the Executive Council and the President General. So that's how we work. That's how we function now is through divisions. We establish divisions, maintain divisions, and work to, earn our charters. So Dominion, provincial, or colonial charters. I'll read this briefly. We are kind of the government is expanding now. I know that we're doing a lot of work in the Caribbean as well as on the motherland. So this will become more relevant in modern time. So division, provincial, or colonial charters in countries requiring the provincial or colonial registration charters. There shall be issued one dominion, provincial, or colonial charter as the law may require. All divisions within the charter limits shall be designated as divisions. Nothing in this provision shall be construed to give the original division any jurisdiction over the others other than through the parent body. This is not something we really have to worry about at this time. Like I said, I think it would be more so in the future with the Caribbean, with the motherland. I could see this being applied, but as of right now, I haven't heard anything about this functioning. So don't worry too much about that, but it is in the Constitution. Article 2, titled Laws, very important. Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League may enact laws for its government, and that for subordinate divisions, organizations, and societies and members throughout the jurisdiction. The laws of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League shall be comprised in A, the Constitution, which shall contain the outlines, fundamental principles, and policies of this organization, its jurisdiction, and that of local divisions and societies, the list of officers, and all matters pertaining to their duties. B, the bylaws, which shall contain the order of procedure and convention, the specific duties of officers and committees, and the standing rules. C, the general laws, which shall contain all matters pertaining to the relations of members and the local divisions and societies to each other. So very important. It's almost like a table of contents or index as to where we can find some critical information. Amendment to Constitution as of 2005. The Constitution shall only be amended at times when such amendment tends absolutely to further the interests of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, and when carried by a 2/3 majority in convention fully assembled. So we should understand the process of amendments. That's another thing that we want to discuss amongst our local leadership. If we see a need or we want to have a discussion about an amendment or resolution to the Constitution, we should understand that process. And again, that's why this is so important for us right now. We're getting ready to prepare for HEC, High Executive Council. And that is the first place in which amendments and resolutions are discussed and approved. In order to make it to constitutional approval, you have to get to convention. But in order to get to convention, you have to go through High Executive Council. So this is a preparation for all of our divisions so that we can have a fruitful discussion when High Executive Council comes, and we can give more answers than we ask questions. So we will continue just a little bit, just a few more, and then we'll open up and I'll go through the questions. The cover page amendment from 2005. The Ankh is the official symbol of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. Its implementation began in 1992. Table of contents. Table of contents be utilized in all future printings of the Constitution. This was an amendment from 2005. Constitutional review. Constitution states that every 5 years' time be set aside for a constitutional review. All resolutions for improvement shall be sent to the Constitution Committee. So this is very important. Resolutions, that's what we're talking about right now. That's what we're preparing to discuss at High Executive Council. So yeah, we should know these processes and be discussing these amongst our local divisions. Constitution Committee amendment from 2005 that the President General appoint and upgrade the Constitution Committee as needed. Bylaws and general laws, how they are enacted. Section 4, bylaws and general laws may be enacted by the convention of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, and such shall be carried by a 2/3 majority. So according to the Constitution, and this is how we function at convention, resolutions and amendments are voted on, and if they're carried by a 2/3 majority, then they become law. So I'll read this last section, Article 3. Article 3 is titled as of the 2005 amendment, delegates to conventions. Section 1, divisions in all kindred organizations and orders subordinate to the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League are entitled to representation in convention. Such divisions and societies must send a delegate or delegates to represent their respective divisions. Terms of deputies. Section 2, the term of each delegate shall expire at the close of the convention. The local division may assist with delegate expenses. He or she shall be entitled to 1 vote in convention and no proxy shall be allowed. So those were amendments from 2005. And I'll go through proxy and then I'll stop there. 2014, the UNIA approved or installed 1 man, 1 vote. And according to that amendment, votes will no longer be determined by delegates or deputies. Each member of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League present at convention who is in good standing and whose dues are current is entitled to 1 vote for elections and entitled to 1 vote for each motion brought to the convention floor, including votes for constitutional amendments. So that's 1 man, 1 vote. Proxy vote for esteemed elders. Amendment from 2018. Members of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League who are 75 years or older, who are in good standing and whose dues are current, are considered esteemed elders and are entitled to 1 proxy vote per elder for elections and entitled to 1 vote for each motion brought to the convention floor, including votes for constitutional amendments. So I will stop there. Any questions, comments, concerns before we go to the PowerPoint? Okay, so first questions from the preamble. According to the preamble, what is the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League? So a question for the audience, so we can unmute and answer the question. According to the preamble, obviously.
It is a social, humanitarian, friendly. Hold on, get
my notes. That's just what I know off the dome. No, just
All
saying.
right, I see you. I see you. That's how
Anybody else pick up while I'm trying to pick up notes though, but you know.
social, humanitarian, friendly.
Social no, I said that already.
Playing. Y'all playing. I see you, Lady President. I'm gonna hang on. We're gonna be patient.
Unless somebody else. Okay, boom. Okay, well, bet that. Hold on 1 second.
Y'all know we do participatory call and response. It's not just to sit back and learn through osmosis. Mama Earth, I see you raise your hand.
I can answer it.
Please.
Okay, it's the Universal Improvement Association, and it's a social, friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, institutional, constructive, and expansive society, and is founded by persons.
Hold on.
Erase first.
Yes.
I can't see. I can't. I need to go to get my glasses because I'm looking at it, looking straining.
Yes. You absolutely right. Don't go too far because you were getting ready to answer the next question. But one thing to point out, or one thing that I pointed out, is in the preamble, the UNIA is defined as a society. From my study and Mr. Garvey tells us that we have to be masters of the language that we speak. But this statement is descriptive. It is describing. It's kind of like how you describe yourself. If somebody asks you to describe yourself, what you are, and most of the words. So all of this is who we are. This is defining who we are, and then this is a. So this is like the equal sign. Social, friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, institutive, constructive, and expansive. I would argue that all of those are adjectives, and society is the noun. Society is the person, place, or thing that we are, and the other terms describe what type of society we are. But that's just a whole nother thing. We just trying to memorize the preamble. Those are my thoughts. Any questions, comments so far? But yeah, thank you, Mama Earth. Absolutely correct. And Lady President, excellent job as well. Okay. What was the desire of the founders of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League? And again, according to the preamble, what was the desire of our ancestors? I know Mama Earth has it. Who else got it? So we come into Constitution study without our constitutions, and I gave us a digital copy. That ain't the preamble ain't changed. Mama Earth, can you help us out again?
Yes. Desiring to the utmost to work for the general uplift of the Negro peoples of the world.
Yes, ma'am. Oh my goodness, what in the world? Give me 1 second. Let me fix my sheet here. Desiring to the utmost to work for the general uplift of the Negro peoples of the world. So who we are and what our desire is. Now, what do the members of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League pledge? What do we pledge?
And the members pledge themselves to do all in their power to conserve the rights of their noble race and to respect the rights of all mankind.
Absolutely.
Race first.
Members pledge themselves to do all in their power to conserve the rights of their noble race and to respect the rights of all mankind. Thank you, Attorney Imhotep. What do the members of the UNIA-ACL believe? What do we believe? What do our ancestors believe? That's a loaded question because I feel like that says that a couple times in there. All right, now, plan. I'll go with this one. Believing always in the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God. Okay, so what is the motto of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, Association and African Communities League? What is our motto?
One God, one aim, one destiny.
One God, one aim, one destiny. Absolutely.
Race
And what happens when strong oppresses the weak? Are we playing? If strong oppresses the weak, confusion and discontent will ever mark the path of man.
Race first.
And last question, what does love, faith, and charity toward all create? Something about a rain.
Okay, the reign of peace and plenty will be heralded into the world, and the generation of men shall be called blessed.
So, according to these 7 questions we just went through, the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League is a social-friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, institutional, constructive, and expansive society, and is desired by individuals. I forgot the exact word. Desiring to the utmost to work for the general uplift of the Negro peoples of the world. The members pledge themselves to do all in their power to conserve the rights of their noble race and to respect the rights of all mankind, believing always in the brotherhood of man and the fatherhood of God. Motto of the organization is one God, one aim, one destiny. And if strong oppresses the weak, confusion and discontent will ever mark the path of man. But with love, faith, and charity towards all, the reign of peace and plenty will be heralded into the world, and the generations of men shall be called blessed. So that is our preamble in a nutshell. So if you can remember those questions and the answers to those questions, that should help us to memorize our preamble. Any questions, comments on preamble?
I just want to make a comment. I think this is my personal opinion. Like President said, like Garvey said, we should lead with the preamble as Garveyites and all that we do. And as you all can see, how imperative it is that we lead with that preamble and all that we do as Garveyites. So even though it's a lot of important things that we're going to learn in this Constitution, but the preamble is the most important thing. I think you should embed it in your hearts along with the pledge. So I just want to make that comment. So race first, y'all. Very good job.
Race first. Thank you, Lady President. Anyone else?
Yes. Excuse me, this is the best Bessemer.
Greetings.
Brother John, you're doing an excellent job. I certainly concur. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stay for the whole session, but I've joined you before, and I certainly will be back with intent to start fulfilling some of the classes and studying more. I don't think we can never study enough. So I just want to say good job and how you're taking time and breaking it down and laying out and pointing out the very importance here in each article, even though all the articles are important, but I just like how you're laying it out. So thank you again. Race First family. Just wanted to say I'm here and you all are doing a great job. So thank you again, Brother John.
Race first. Thank you, Sister Basim. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you, brother. Race first.
Race first. Okay, 8:48, making pretty good on time. These questions fairly straightforward as well. We should have our constitutions with us at this time. If you are a member of 421 and you do not have a constitution, and you've paid your joining fee, please reach out to me and I'll make sure you get your physical copy ASAP. But yes, we should all be referring to our constitution as we go through this. So next question, according to Article 1, when was the original Constitution of the UNIA-ACL put into effect? When did our Constitution first go into effect?
July 1918.
July 1918, absolutely. In effect, July 1918. So that's just something to keep in mind. We have to know the history of our organization, history of the UNIA, and especially the history of our Constitution. So as of 1918, our Constitution has been in effect. When was the Constitution last amended? That's also very important. When did we last make updates to our Constitution?
(2021).
2021, what month? Yes, you're right, but was it May or March?
March. It was am I unmuted? Oh, it felt like it's March.
March 2021, yes. So when should we expect another update? Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Forgive me. My copy of the Constitution says August 2021.
Really? Which size you got? The large one or small?
The big one.
Let me see here. Hold on, man. We might have caught some August. Yeah, you're right. I got a lot of Augusts in there.
Mine says August 2022.
Oh, whoa. Oh, shoot. This is not what it was about.
I will confirm with August, based on the fact that it was at convention, and although we are preparing things at the HGC to go to the convention, it is passed at the convention. So I will concur with August. I'm still to be corrected.
Absolutely. I was going to say the same thing, President. I was going to say we normally put stuff on the board in March and we vote in August.
Well, that's good. And when I looked at the physical copies, I see August as well. I'll show y'all what I had on the digital, and that's kind of good to know that this isn't 100% accurate. So that means that I feel even better sharing it because it's not accurate. But according to this document, it was March 2005 and March 2021. But in the physical copy, August 2001 is the correct answer. So we should know August 2001 is when our last update happened. And as our Lady President and Sister Basima said, we should understand the importance of convention because that's when these updates and changes are made official. Questions, comments on So this needs to be August.
I got a question, President. I know we share in the draft, and I was going to ask this earlier, but I was just going to make a mention about this later. I was going to make a mention about this later, like after the lesson was done. But since this is a leadership course, and we all are like leaders taking this course, correct? Right? We all have. And this is a leadership course, so I was just wondering, because we all are amongst leaders, could the the hard copy be shared, or are we like recording?
We are recording, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, we are recording. So it's close enough, there's not any major, discrepancies. If we master this draft, you got 95% of the actual Constitution. So it's not a major difference between reality. Okay, next question, and this is when we get into the actual Constitution. What is the jurisdiction of the UNIA-ACL? It's the first thing we discuss. Section 1, Article 1.
The jurisdiction of the UNIA and ACL includes all communities where people of African descent reside.
Yes, ma'am. Jurisdiction includes all communities where people of African descent are to be found. Questions, comments on that should be clear. It's the world basically, but anywhere our people are, that's where the UNIA is. So we'll get into the difference between ordinary members and active members, but before we even get there, we should understand our jurisdiction for the UNIA-ACL as a whole is anywhere our people are. And we'll get into local jurisdiction in later articles as well. Questions, comments, jurisdiction? Within the jurisdiction of the UNIA-ACL, what are the powers? What are the powers of the UNIA-ACL within its jurisdiction? It's very straightforward. Establish, or is it enact? Nobody want to take a chance on this one? Section 1 of Article 1, in it alone are vested the powers to establish subordinate divisions and other organizations who shall be equal and be identical with those herein set forth. In it alone are vested powers to establish subordinate divisions and other organizations whose objects shall be equal and be identical with those herein set forth, and its mandate shall be obeyed at all times under all circumstances. So a big part is in it alone are vested powers to establish subordinate divisions and other organizations. I thought it was something legal involved there, but it's established. Questions, comments on powers of the UNIA within its jurisdiction? Within the jurisdiction, or within its jurisdiction, what rights are reserved by the UNIA-ACL? I think this is where we get legal. What rights are reserved by the UNIA-ACL? Section 1, reserve the right to fix, regulate, and determine all matters of a general or international nature as affect the objects of the organization and the membership at large. It's a legal term, sounds legal. Reserve the right to fix, regulate, and determine all matters of general and international nature. Questions, comments before I say anything? But yeah, very broad it seems. Last question, I believe. No, it's not. Last question for jurisdiction. What does it cost to revoke a charter and reestablish jurisdiction over a division or subordinate organization?
Whose affairs are conducted contrary to the welfare of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Community Leagues, as required by the Constitution and general laws.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any division or subordinate organization whose affairs are conducted contrary to the welfare. So very straightforward. As long as we aren't behaving contrary, or individuals, organizations are not behaving contrary to the UNIA-ACL, they should not have their charter revoked or jurisdiction reestablished. Questions, comments on jurisdiction? All right, Article 1, another fundamental. What are the aims and objects of the Universal Negro Improvement Association? Number one, how many aims and objects are there in the UNIA-ACL? Got something in the chat. Place first. Okay, just about seeing. How many aims and objects are there in the Universal Negro Improvement Association? Come on, y'all. I ain't asking each one. I just need to know how many there are.
11.
11? We got 11. Who said 11? 1. See, Sister Cicely said 1. Okay. How many aims and objects do we have? Who said 11?
I did. All right.
Brother Art, okay. Brother Art said 11. I love this question. I really do. Anyone else say anything? Anybody, we good with Brother Art? Good with Sister Cicely? Okay. Nobody? Oh, man. Brother Art, you very close. Brother Art, why did you say 11? Brother Art, you there? Brother Art, you there? You're on mute.
Oh, okay. I remember 11. Well, but now that I think about it, it was 10, right? Because one of them was removed, right?
Pretty much, yes. Yep, that's what I wanted you to get to. As of right now, we currently have 10 aims and objects in the Constitution. Originally, there were 11, but currently we have 10, and we'll go through those. So, what are the aims and objects of the UNIA-ACL? What's the first aim and object?
To establish a united brotherhood and sisterhood among the race.
Yes, ma'am. I believe we use the word universal confraternity, but you're right in concept. Second aim and object.
To promote race, pride, and love.
Yes, ma'am. To promote pride and love. Number 3, what's the third aim and object? Anybody? It should be, we should be able to just rattle this off.
To reclaim the fallen.
Reclaim the fallen. Who's got number 4? Thank you, Attorney Motep. We do not have our constitutions out, do we? To assist the needy. And then what we got for number 5?
To assist in the development of independent African nations and communities.
Yes, sir. And assist in independent African nations. Number 6. It's agencies. What does 6 say about agencies?
Oh, to establish diplomatic agencies in the principal countries and cities of the world.
Yes. Number 7.
To conduct worldwide commercial and industrial intercourse for the good of the race.
No, that's towards the end. There's 2 before that one. We're on number 7. After establish agencies and agencies, I think that means. What we do about religion? Do we have a religious aim and object? Lady President, you there?
Okay, can I share?
You don't have to share.
Okay, the UNIA-ACL Constitution addresses religion through the establishment of a juvenile branch in every division, emphasizing the teaching of spiritual and racial uplift. Additionally, it mandates that all chaplains of the UNIA and ACL must be intelligent persons, well-versed in the reading and interpretation of the universal ritual and scriptures.
Yes, that's you get into the details. I'm just talking about based on what we read today. We went over this listed in Article 1 in the aims and objects of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. We said that there are 10 aims and objects. We listed 6, and now we're trying to get to the 7th aim and object. My question was, is there a spiritual aim and object, or I considered it religious, but to make it more simple, is there anything in the aims and objects that deal with spirituality?
So would you like us to read objective number 7, object number 7?
Please.
Okay. Objective 7 in the UNIA-ACL Constitution states that the term of office for potentate and how do you pronounce that?
Potentate. You're reading the potentate. Oh my God.
Am I on the wrong one?
Yes. Okay. See what happens because
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're doing a great job. But we should know these things. So let's see. Jurisdiction, objects and aims. Independent African nations and communities. That was number 5. Number 6, to establish agencies in the principal countries and cities of the world for the representation and protection of all Africans, irrespective of nationality. That was number 6, and this is number 7. To promote a conscientious spiritual worship among all Africans in the diaspora. That's number 7. Number 8 is to establish universities, colleges, academies, and schools for the racial education and culture of the people. Number 9 was mentioned, which is to conduct a worldwide commercial and industrial intercourse for the good of the people. And number 10 is to work for the better conditions in all African communities. So those are the 10 aims and objects of the UNIA-ACL. Questions, comments? Okay. Last part of Article 1. What is the necessary number of citizens in order to issue a charter? How many citizens are required in order to issue a charter?
7.
7. Thank you, Attorney Motep. A charter may be issued to 7 or more citizens of any community whose intelligence and industry are recognized and accepted within that community. So that number 7, that should be ingrained in our minds as well. According to the Constitution, we need at least 7 individuals. When we're talking to our brothers and sisters and they want to create a division, that's the number we should be telling them. At least 7. If they can get 100, 1,000, 500, that's great. But if we can't get 7, then we're not gonna go anywhere. Skip was named the charters. After a division has operated successfully for a period, who approves that divisional charter? Okay. I know that some of these are tough. Section 5, Article 1 states that a charter may be issued to 7 or more citizens for any communities whose intelligence and industry are recognized and accepted within. That's not the right answer. Goodness gracious.
By the Executive Council and the President General.
Yes. Thank you, Attorney Motep. I'll just share and then add it later. All additional, during this period, divisions that operate successfully at the divisional level shall be approved by the Executive Council and the President General. So, in order, when we're growing divisions, get the 7, start having meetings, get a divisional charter, and work to have that charter approved by the executive body, Executive Council and President General. Okay. Questions, comments? Somebody had a question?
Lady President from Division 407. In Section 5, where it says the Executive Secretary shall be the civil servant attached to the division and shall be the supervisor of such chapters. So is that obsolete?
Hold on. Section 5. We went through we went to article. What article are you referring to? We were in Article 3. We only got to Article 3.
Okay, so in the 7 necessary number for charter.
Yes.
Okay, so you just did Section 4.
No, Well, hold on. Let me share again.
Oh, you know what? You know what the difference is? I'm looking at the what was attached to the notice versus what you have on your screen now. I see that's a little different. Okay.
What you got in the notice? Because I should.
It says that this is an older version of the Constitution.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
But
then
I should still be able to. I know what you're talking about. But what can you scroll up to see what article that is under?
it's
That's a,
one.
Article 1,
Mm-hmm.
and it's executive secretary.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so it's after objects and aims, section 3, and then 7 necessary number for charter, section 4, and then it says chapters, section 5, and that's when it speaks about the executive secretary.
Oh, chapters. Okay, yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm showing that now. I skipped over that because that section had been eradicated.
Oh, okay.
Eradicated
Okay.
in 2005. So yeah, that you got the original version, but as of the latest version, that section is no longer there.
Gotcha.
That's why I was a little confused.
But I'm gonna stick to what you have on your screen because the PDF is different from what you are.
Yeah, the PDF is more recent, but in 407, your brother Lamar is your president, correct? You lady president?
Yes.
That should definitely be a discussion tomorrow at president's meeting. Y'all should definitely have a set of copies, physical copies of the Constitution for your members.
Yeah, we do. I just don't have it physically with me at the moment. I'm what you have.
Okay. Yeah, the one I shared is the one that is publicly available on the UNIA website. I didn't want to share this draft because it hasn't been public, but it's a little more private. But I can, if you send me an email or something, I can send you this if the Secretary General hasn't sent it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, 9:14. Let me see how many more questions we got. We want to be done by 9:30. I don't want to keep us past 9:30. Oh shoot, hold on. Stop sharing. Has some questions that has some good questions here. Yeah. Okay. Article 2, laws. Wait, did we ask this one? Who or what made the UNIA enact laws for? Yvette Williams, yes, Mama Earth. Did we ask that question? Who or what made the UNIA enact laws for? No, we didn't, but I got confused because the jurisdiction one kind of confused me with laws. Section 1, Article 2 states that the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League may enact laws, may enact and enforce laws for its government, and that for subordinate divisions, organizations, and societies and members throughout the jurisdiction. So has the ability to enact laws for its government, subordinate divisions and organizations and societies and members throughout the jurisdiction. Any questions on that? All right, next question, and I'm going to hold on this one until y'all give me an answer. Where are the laws of the UNIA-ACL comprised? Where are the laws of the UNIA-ACL? Where can they be found? Anybody, anything?
Constitution,
Constitution,
the bylaws, and
bylaws,
general laws.
Thank you, Attorney Motep. Attorney Motep is about to be exempt. He's giving a lot of answers. He's about to be exempt. It's gonna be on. He ain't gonna be able to help y'all. According to Section 2 of Article 2, the laws of the UNIA-ACL are comprised in A, the Constitution, B, the general laws, and C, or B, the bylaws, and C, the general laws. According to those three, and Attorney Imhotep, you know, don't save them. Which laws of the UNIA-ACL are listed in the Constitution? If we got laws in three different areas, what's the difference between those three? So what laws are listed in the Constitution? Playing around.
Can I read from what I have?
Please.
Okay. The Section 2, the laws of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League shall be comprised in the Constitution, which shall contain the outlines, fundamental principles, and policies of the organization, its jurisdiction, and that of local divisions and societies, the list of officers and all matters pertaining to their duties. That's A. B, the bylaws which shall contain.
Go ahead, Sister Elizabeth.
The bylaws which shall contain the order of procedure in convention, the specific duties of officers and committees, and the standing rules. The number C, the general laws which shall contain all matters pertaining to the relations of members and local divisions and societies to each other.
Excellent. Thank you. Excellent. And so the information is there. We should know how to access it, and you know, this is a review of you know, where to find the answers to certain questions. That's what this is about. So thank you, Sister Elizabeth. Excellent reading.
Thank you.
Next question, according to Article 2, when shall the Constitution be amended? Well, that might be a trick. I don't like how I worded that question. When shall the Constitution be amended? It's probably how often shall the Constitution be amended?
The Constitution shall only be amended at times when such amendments tend absolutely to the further interests of the UNIA and African Communities League.
Yes, sir. And when carried by a 2/3 majority in convention fully assembled. Thank you, Brother Art. Excellent job. So again, resolutions, amendments. We should understand the political process, and we should understand the importance of resolution, or not resolution, high executive council and convention. Questions, comments so far? What is the official symbol of the UNIA-ACL? What is the official symbol of the UNIA-ACL? This isn't in the older constitution. It's only in the newer.
Flag, the red, black, and green.
Red, black, and green flag. Good. You good? Yeah, I like that, but not according to the Constitution. What's that?
The Ankh.
Who's that? That's brother. Yes, sir. According to the Constitution, it is the Ankh. It is the official symbol of UNIA-ACL. Its implementation began in 1992. So, for those that are not aware, there's a couple Ankhs. If anyone hadn't seen an Ankh, or if they've seen it and didn't know what it was, ancient African symbol of of life of the man and woman. Okay, yes. So we should know that the Ankh is the official symbol of the UNIA-ACL according to the Constitution. When was the table of contents added to the Constitution? It's not a serious question, but just something to know. All right, y'all playing. 2005. Constitution. The table of contents was added in 2005. So, how often is the Constitution review completed? How often do we do Constitution review according to the Constitution? Playing. Every 5 years. Everybody good with that? Do anybody know when we should have another Constitution review? When we should have our next Constitution review?
2025.
2025?
Yeah. If it's every 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm counting from when the table of contents was added in 2005. So I added 5 years from the. So I'm sorry, my calculation base is wrong.
Not bad. Anybody have any thoughts as to when we should have?
If I believe correctly, it's 26. The Constitution Committee adjourned in 21, I believe.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So yeah, I would say by the year 2026, hopefully sometime before that, 2025, it can be kind of laid out. But yeah, every 5 years. So by 2026, we should be asking our government for update on constitutional review. That's the point of that. Questions, comments? All right, one more section and we will close out. Well, no, this is Article 2 as well. So we'll finish up Article 2. I don't know if we'll get to Article 3. Where are resolutions sent? When we have resolutions, where are they sent?
Yeah, sent to the Executive Council through the Secretary General.
Executive Council through the Secretary General? That sounds legitimate.
I don't have the word. I don't have the Constitution with me, so I don't have the word. But
no, that's a good one. According to the Constitution, resolutions for improvement shall be sent to the Constitution Committee. So, I mean, a lot of times we have a lot of overlap with our Executive Committee, Constitution Committee, and a lot of the things do go through our Secretary General. So, in experience, I wouldn't say that you're wrong. Per Constitution, things should go to the Constitution Committee, and there should be a representative for the Constitution Committee, and it shouldn't go, directly to the Secretary General. It should be, Secretary General can be like CC'd, but we've got to relieve, some of the work that our Secretary General is doing. Questions, comments on where to send resolutions? So that's very important as we get ready for HEC. We should know where to send our resolutions. Got you. Got two emails for for the Constitution. I'll take care of that. Who is required to appoint and upgrade the Constitution Committee as needed? Whose responsibility is that?
Be President General and Executive Council.
I believe it's just President General, but yeah, President General has a responsibility to appoint and upgrade the Constitution Committee as needed. So, again, if 2026, 2027 comes around, we haven't had a Constitution Committee, we need to know what is the process to have that addressed. Questions, comments? I did have some questions on delegates. I don't know if I got the answers. Well, yeah, we got a few minutes. We'll try to knock out Article 3 really quick. First question, are divisions of the UNIA-ACL entitled to representation in convention? Very straightforward. It's very obvious, but what's anybody know?
Yes, they are.
Yes, sir. So according to Constitution, section Article 3, divisions in all kindred organizations subordinate to the UNIA-ACL are entitled to representation in convention. Such divisions and societies must send a delegate and delegates to represent their division. So yes, all divisions are entitled to representation in convention. Who was responsible to send the delegates to represent their division? I just read that. Who has the responsibility to send the delegates or to make sure delegates make it to HEC or convention? Anybody?
The division presidents?
The division presidents, goodness gracious.
Huh?
The division presidents.
Yeah, they're gonna send the people from their division to the convention, right?
Somewhat. Somewhat. They in there, they involved. They not solely responsible.
It is division body.
The division body. So I just read that. Let's see. Such divisions and societies must send a delegate or delegates to represent their respective division. So the divisions themselves are responsible to make sure delegates make it to represent them. Questions, comments?
I have a question about the delegates. Since we are using one man, one vote now instead of the delegates, should that be admitted in the Constitution?
Hold off on that, brother Anthony. You got inside information. Hold off for me. So to continue, next question: when does the term of delegates expire?
Four years.
4 years.
The day after the convention, the day after the convention ends.
Yes, sir. At the close of convention, is when delegates relinquish their authority. Term of delegates shall expire at the close of convention. So very straightforward. So every year we restart the delegate process, supposedly. Okay. Now, as Brother Anthony alluded to, what amendment from 2014 says that votes will no longer be determined by delegates or deputies? What was the name of that amendment?
Ooh, I don't know.
So I think it's the only amendment from 2014 as well, from or one of the few. Brother Anthony?
I want to say one man, one vote. But I
Absolutely.
don't know.
No, that's it. You're right.
Oh, okay.
Let me see what I have. If I elaborated on that or if I just went somewhere else. Okay, yeah. What is one man, one vote?
Any current dues payer who's current on their dues can vote at convention as long as they're in the division and current on their dues.
Yes, as long as they're in the division, current on their dues, and able to attend either convention or HEC. So per the literature, and this will be the last thing we go over, we'll close out in just a moment. Votes will no longer be determined by delegates or deputies. Each member of the UNIA-ACL present at convention, and this only says convention too, so I need to, so what about HEC? Who is in good standing and whose dues are current are entitled to one vote for elections and entitled to one vote for each motion brought to the convention floor, including votes for constitutional amendment. So, as Brother Anthony said, this is something that we've, has been very near and dear to us in Atlanta, is the reestablishment of Article 3, and to go back to delegates, the use of delegates, the election of delegates, and the authority of delegates to vote and kind of, I don't want to say control votes, but delegates as opposed to one man, one vote. But currently, as per the Constitution, as Brother Anthony elaborated, any member that is in good standing with their division that is able to attend convention, is what this says, has the ability to vote for the constitutional amendments as well as election. Yeah, I don't really know. I can't. Y'all know our position on this, so I don't want to, get myself in trouble. But any other comments, questions on one man, one vote, and delegate system? And Attorney Emotep, I would like to understand, per my reading, of this, it does definitely say present at convention. And does High Executive Council equate to convention? Or does that mean that for High Executive Council, we should be using a delegate system, and then for convention, we can have one man, one vote? What's your interpretation of that?
Yeah, yes, this article here, Article 3, deputies to convention, delegates to convention. Yes, this is pertaining to the convention and not the HEC. Okay, and it's talking about delegates to the convention, and it states each division has the right to be represented by a delegate, which is termed here deputies. They're considered deputies. And then which is different than from the one person, one vote.
Yes.
And it's actually the exact opposite.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so the procedure now is, one person, one vote. And what comes to mind here, and is these deputies sent from the divisions, who are entitled to the divisions entitled to representation at the convention, but it doesn't say these deputies have the right to vote. Okay, it's really one person, one vote. Okay, and so you have to be physically present at convention to vote.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't think the deputies here listed in the Constitution, it doesn't say anything about voting.
You're right.
Yeah, so just my thought.
Well, what is this to represent their respective divisions? Let me see. Oh, here we go. He or she shall be entitled to one vote in convention. No proxy shall be allowed. So I would argue the representation and entitled to one vote per delegate and or deputy. But and we're getting ready to close out. But it brings to question the HEC. And we haven't gone through the whole Constitution, but what is the constitutional procedure for approving or rejecting things that come to the HEC floor? Should that be handled by delegates, or should that be handled by the attendees of HEC? And I haven't gotten that from the Constitution yet.
Well, as I've been going to HEC since 2018. As of 2018, it was one man, one vote for the HEC. I don't know if it was actually written in the Constitution, it was amended in the Constitution, but it's been one man, one vote for the HEC.
I got you. But that just brings a question to my mind as to, because it's somewhat spelled out for convention, but I don't see that same thing for High Executive Council. Any other questions or comments? That was, well, before we close out, I guess I had one more question for that section. Then we'll kind of open the floor. What is the current age for proxy vote?
75, I believe.
75, yes, sir. Yes. There was a resolution brought to the floor here in Atlanta last year to have that reduced to 65. It did make it through High Executive Council. It was approved. Then it was rejected at convention. And I also need to understand from this constitutional standpoint, I've been told that anything that is rejected on the convention floor cannot be brought back to High Executive Council. It must come back. It can only come back to the convention floor. And I need to understand the constitutionality of that as well. Because my understanding of the High Executive Council, it states that the High Executive Council is a place where these grievances are brought, so whether they've been clarified in the previous convention or not, if it's still an issue that we have as a people, it should be able to be brought to the floor at High Executive Council, per my understanding of the Constitution. And again, we haven't gotten to that section, but anybody have anything before we close out?
It still has to be brought to HEC, but I believe it's automatically passed through HEC to convention floor. Because if you don't bring it up again, then it doesn't hit the convention floor. The electronic voting resolution was one that had been brought up before and passed the HEC that I brought up for last year in Atlanta.
Yeah,
that had been passed before, and we had to bring it back up again. And somehow we had to vote on it.
in Atlanta?
Yeah. The electronic voting.
I thought we couldn't vote for that.
No, we did vote for it. That was the one where I had to ask questions for about 45 minutes and be cut off a couple times by the PG to try and dispel it. It was brought up. It was originally brought up by someone else, another division, and we brought it up. It passed HEC, but it died on the convention floor by a couple votes.
You talking about this recently, this past year?
Past year, yep.
Oh wow. What? So, oh my gosh.
I'm a firm believer that electronic voting is the only way we can get a fair representation of the entire UNIA. Like with the convention being in New York, and New York having the large division, New York would have the say on whether a resolution gets passed or not.
Yeah.
It is impossible for LA to bring their whole division out. It's impossible for Nigeria or Liberia to bring their whole division out. And with it being in New York, the whole division can actually be there.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen it. And at the end of the day, I think if we agree, I don't get this. Yeah, because we say we want one man, one vote, but we don't want to allow people to vote in the convenience of their location. We're forcing them to be in a certain place, but we don't want to use a delegate process.
But unfortunately, the delegate process in the convention will have to be amended as well, because the delegate process didn't say exactly how many people are they representing as a delegate.
It does. It does.
Does it?
Yeah, I've read it. I've read it because that had come up before, and it's like two. It ends up being like 2 delegates per division, or a maximum of 3, I believe.
Right, but for a division that has 200 members versus a division of 30 members, that's not an accurate representation of the division.
No.
So that wouldn't be even close to, a one man, one vote type situation.
No person delegates. Delegate number leader. Okay, so selection delegate to convention. Number fine. Selection delegate to each division. Each division subordinate society shall send a minimum of 1 delegate. So each division, whether we got 7 or 1,000, you send 1. That's the start. Divisions may send as many members as they wish, but voting delegates will be limited to the number set by the President General and HEC. Each division or society shall bear the expense of their own delegates. Otherwise, each delegate will bear. Each division will instruct. It's in here. Concerns. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Each division will discuss among its members concerns of local divisions and send the written concerns to Secretary General in advance of convention honoring the Secretary General's deadline. No, this is not what I was thinking. Motions, resolutions, proposals shall be printed to the general. That's not what I was thinking. I remember seeing it though. I can't find it right now. And
it was further up where it said the PG basically can decide how many delegates can go.
I thought it was another limitation to it. Vision be limited to the number set by. Oh, I got it. Okay. It was the it's the old Constitution has it.
Right.
Each division shall send one deputy, but no division shall have more than 3 was the old. So at least one, no more than 3. Division subordinates not having more than 1,000 members and not less than 500 shall send one deputy to represent. But it was up to 3. So whether you had 100 or 1,000 members, the most deputies you could have was 3. But we done changed all of that already. Anyone else? We getting ready to close out. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We will continue this every Tuesday up until High Executive Council. So if you missed today, we are recording this, and I do plan to do a little bit of editing and then share this on YouTube. So if you miss anything, definitely catch it on YouTube, and we will be back next week to continue into Article 4 of the Constitution. If there are not any questions, well, I'll briefly, any closing comments? Okay.
Yes, I got a comment.
Yes, sir. Brother Charles, Third Assistant President.
Race first, everybody. I'm glad to see this happening because me and the Secretary General had talked about the fact that we need to review the Constitution, and it's not being reviewed in a regular way, and that's supposed to happen according to the Constitution. I like what you're doing here because it allows for us to take a real good look at how things have changed over time. The biggest thing I see with what you discussed tonight, is that whether you do one man, one vote, or you do delegates, it's not a fair system based on the number of divisions that you have. Because if divisions don't send a representative, they don't have a voice. And when the brother was talking about, I didn't recognize the voice, but when the brother was talking about electronic voting, that resolves the lack of representation across the board by each division. But New York having the numbers that they have, they allow everybody to vote. And that's not supposed to be how the floor behaves. It's supposed to be representative of each division, even if it's one man, one vote.
Yes. Yeah. I think we all, the veterans, we know we're dealing with. The new people will come to understand, but we do have to do our best to make corrections. And brother, Brother Charles, did you make it to convention? You were at convention this past year.
Yes. I was there.
That was Brother Anthony from Chicago that was speaking. He had.
Oh, okay.
Were you aware of the? Did they discuss electronic voting at convention?
I do remember that it was discussed. I don't remember what the outcome was.
Okay.
And the Secretary General is supposed to have a blue book of everything that transpired. So you should only need to call her to find out.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to know. I've heard from some individuals, a lack of security and being able to verify who's voting, but um, I don't think it's as bad as we discussed. So, but we got to figure that out.
Yep.
Anyone else before we close? Thank you for everyone for staying late. Yes. Thank you, Sister Yvette. I'm gonna stop the recording